How's it going, you beautiful bastards? Welcome back to another gaming video. Today I wanted to quickly take a few minutes to talk about one of my favorite gaming franchises and how it has been absolutely butchered over the years due to corporate greed and a company that just wants the good old green. They just want the moolah in your pockets. But yes, I'm going to be playing some PvZ2 on the PC over here. I'm not actually, well, I am actually playing it on a PC, but it's not a PC port. This is just me emulating it on an Android emulator. As you can see here on the top left, it says BlueStacks, because that is the first biggest problem in why I personally think that PvZ2 is so bad compared to the first game. I don't think that necessarily PvZ2 is a bad game, but I do think that it's a bad Plants vs Zombies game. I think that the first game practically set the bar so high that the second game couldn't necessarily top that, even though they did have the perfect recipe for a video game with the first game. I mean, they just had to basically repeat the first game exactly as it was with the improved visuals, and they just had to add all of the new maps, plants. They could even add the story, I don't mind. But what they also had to do was make it an actual game and not a mobile cash grab, because I think that's where the biggest problem came in with PvZ2, is the fact that they made it free to play and they made it a live service so heavily focused on the microtransactions that you literally have to spend money on almost everything inside of the game, which nobody wants to spend money on. Plants vs Zombies of all things. But yeah, overall I don't think that PvZ2, like I said, is a bad game. I just think that it was very much poorly executed. I mean, I'm gonna be honest here and just admit that some of my greatest memories of my life, some core memories, are of me playing Plants vs Zombies, the first game. That game was the perfect recipe for a tower defense game. It was a unique twist on the genre. It was something new, it was something unique. They literally just had to keep that up with this sequel and just put a price tag on it. I mean, the first game isn't even expensive, and it never was. You can pick it up for like a few bucks on Steam, and I mean, it's on sale almost every other day. You can literally get it for a few cents. So why didn't they just make the second game a few bucks as well without any in-game microtransactions, also releasing it on all platforms like they did with the first game? I mean, the first game was almost everywhere. Not only was it on mobile, but it was on the Nintendo DS. I'm like 90% sure you could get that shit on the Wii. I remember it was on the PlayStation 3. I remember that very well. So Plants vs Zombies 1 was pretty much a universal game. You know, you could access that on practically any platform that you had. And I mean, Plants vs Zombies 2 is only available on mobile, and I know of a lot of people, including myself, which had to play it on a PC emulator like I'm currently doing right now. But yeah, I don't know, like, I think the big problem of it was with EA. We all know that EA is quite known for their infamous greed. It's a very greedy company that would like to basically get as much money out of you as possible, and I think that unfortunately the sequel of Plants vs Zombies just fell greed to this company and the corporate greed behind it. Unfortunately, it's truly a shame, because like I said, Plants vs Zombies was the perfect recipe, and it was just one of the best games that I've ever played. I've spent hundreds of hours on it, maybe even more. I wouldn't be surprised if I've spent thousands of hours on it across platforms, because I've been playing that game ever since I was a wee little kid. And I mean, I literally played it on my first PC ever. So of course I have a lot of like nostalgia based love for the game, I guess. And I mean, I guess that just gives me more of a reason to kind of be sad about the fact that they kind of ruined the second game. Now, the second game isn't all doom and gloom, might I say that. I do have to admit that there's a lot of new tracks in the second game, which do go quite hard, I ain't gonna lie. And I mean, that was probably Lara Shigihara again, I think that's her name, right? She absolutely makes banger after banger for the PvZ games. And I do have to say that visually it looks very good. I mean, everything is HD, it's high res. It looks so great compared to the first game. I mean, I replay that game at least once every year, and genuinely this looks so good in comparison to the first game. I really wish that they would kind of like remaster the first game, to be honest, with like mod support or something. That would be sick. But yeah, like, it looks very good. I ain't gonna lie, it does play quite well, but just something about it, it's just not as fun or as addictive as the first game. And I think that's because they kind of like went and slightly overcomplicated it. Not like you're gonna have a hard time figuring out how to play the game, or you know, you need to have a Rick and Morty IQ to know what's going on in the interface. I'm just saying, like, they added these little abilities that you can use. They added this little C that powers up your plant. I mean, some would argue that these are great features, but I think that it was great the way that it was in the first game. I mean, just maybe call me a sucker for nostalgia, but that's just the way that it is. And I mean, if this game was available on PC for a few bucks without any of the microtransactions, I could guarantee you that it would still have so much more players today than it has now on mobile. I mean, the fact that this is still running and EA literally shut down The Simpsons tapped out recently is just truly baffling to me. I don't understand how that works. Let's talk about the plants in this game, those that can actually be unlocked without spending any money, because there's just a lot of things in this game that are either extremely grindy, or you have to spend your hard-earned cash on that. You have to go ask your wife or your mother for their credit card.
To help him, all he needs is your credit card number, the 3 digits on the back, and the expiration month and year. But you gotta be quick so that John Wick can secure the bag and achieve the epic victory royal.
And unfortunately, like even look at this, like here you have to spend coins. Now you can spend coins to buy the leaves. I'm making this video as I play this game for y'all, bit of like a gaming commentary over here. That might be why I'm doing pretty bad right now. I'm completely distracted by my conversation and not actually playing the game. And now I have lost my train of thought, but practically back to what I was saying, like the fact that this game is still alive, the fact that it was live service, and the fact that there are still so many people playing it is truly shocking to me. I think that it's kind of insane. I mean, it's still a good game. I guess that kind of proves it as well. But I think that it could have just done so much better, and I think that it could have been so much more fun and addictive and just overall good. I think that this could have been a great game. I mean, in comparison to the first game, you have to make something good. I mean, that's like Half-Life 3 making some AI video game instead of living up to the second game, which was literally one of the greatest video games of all time. So, I mean, EA really had to think behind this or think about this, but they really didn't. It didn't seem like they cared much about this. They were really just in it for the moolah, it seems, and they still are nowadays. That's why they aren't quite as popular as they used to be back in the day. But yeah, like I do have to say, like Plants vs Zombies 1 was peak fiction. Like it was absolute cinema. I never saw anything quite as good as that in my life. And I'm not gonna lie, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare was quite fire as well, the first one and the second one. I don't know what happened to Battle for Neighborville, I think it was called. Battle for Neighborville was also quite a fail, and I think that was also mainly due to the microtransactions and the EA getting quite greedy again with their video games. I remember that Battle for Neighborville, I can't speak today for some reason. The Battle for Neighborville, unfortunately, was priced like at the price of a AAA game, and for some reason it still had like all of these microtransactions and pay-to-win elements and stuff. So I guess that's why it kind of like died out almost immediately. It was practically the video game equivalent of an abortion, just completely dead on arrival. But yeah, I'm thinking that's pretty much gonna wrap up what I have to say about PvZ2. I don't have too much good to say about it. I don't have too much bad to say about it. I don't want to shit on it too much. I mean, I'm kind of like, it's kind of growing on me in a sense, pun not intended. I mean, some of the plants are pretty cool, like some of the plants are pretty cool, and some of the zombies are also pretty based. I mean, some of them are unique and challenging. I do think that the difficulty of the game also gets very hard later on, where it kind of like wants to force you to spend money on the game. And I mean, it's fine, I get it, it's a free-to-play game. They need to make money, but like I said, they would have been perfectly fine by making this game priced at like, I'm pretty sure like everybody watching this would be more than happy to spend a few bucks on a game that's actually really good instead of this mobile cash grab. At least that's what I believe. But hey, that's just my opinion as somebody that has been playing PvZ for as long as I can remember. I have beat the first game more than I have beaten my meat, so believe me, I've got some experience in it. And I mean, I'm quite a fan, like I said, of the Garden Warfare games as well. I mean, I even liked the pinball DLC that they released back on the PS3. I remember. I don't even know like for what game that was. I think it was like this old ass pinball game. I just remember the trailer of it vaguely, but those were good times. Those were good times. But yeah, man, I'm just a long-time fan of PvZ that's really hoping for this like franchise to make a comeback, since PvZ 3 got practically scrapped after its soft launch. So I really do hope to see PvZ make a comeback again, even if it is in the form of Garden Warfare again. I wouldn't mind, but I would just love to see a good sequel to the PvZ that we all know and love, that we grew up with. But that's gonna be it for now, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and I will see y'all again in the next video. Peace out, y'all.